My dear friends, this is Ratnam, Associate Professor of Chemistry, Government Degree College, Bodhan. Today my topic is F block elements. This is third semester, second year students chemistry syllabus. This is Unit 1 in Organic Chemistry. As we know, F block elements actually it is the part of periodic table. We know that elements are being classified into different categories and groups have been formed based on the properties and their valence electron configuration. So electron configuration has been the major aspect to divide elements into different groups. We have S black elements, P black elements, D black elements, and F black elements. So F black elements already we had already discussion about S black, P black, and D black. When we come to F black elements, they are called inner transition elements. So these are inner transition elements. Already we have D black elements called as transition elements, and within the D black there are certain in the 5D, 6D we have these groups involved. That is in the 4D, 5D actually that comes in 4D and 5D. In that series, these F black elements are involved. So they are part of that. So that's why they are called inner transition elements. Here the elements in which the additional electron, that means the valence electron, the last electron enters into n minus 2 f orbital. N minus 2 means where n is the principal quantum number. So for principal quantum number, if it is 5, then if it is 6, then it is 6 minus 2, 4f. So it is the minimum fourth orbital is minimum fourth number is minimum here. So inner transition elements are n minus 2 f electrons. The valence shell electron configuration of these elements can be written as n minus 2 represents the last orbit of where F black orbital is there. So n minus 2 f in f we have 14 maximum possible electrons, that is it starts from 0 and it can be extended up to 14 electrons. So n minus 2 f 0 to 14 and n minus 1 d here 0 to 1 and ns2. So ns2 is the actual principal quantum number where it is, and the orbit where s orbital is there is the highest, and n minus 1 d means it will come back when it comes to d orbital, it will go down to the previous orbit, and when it comes to f black elements, that is f electrons are filling, then it goes back to the second lowest from the top of the atom. 4f inner transition metals are known as lanthanides, and because the reason is it after lanthan it starts, and 5f orbitals are known as actinides because they come immediately after actinum. So the reasons for that lanthanum and actinum are the previous elements, and these F black elements starts after what lanthanum, they are called lanthanides, and if they start from actinum, it is called actinides. And if you look at the position of F black elements, where it is to be located, the position of F black elements is in the sixth period if it is the lanthanides, and that means whatever they are in the sixth period they are called lanthanides, and we also find it in seventh period they are called actinides. Look at this. So here these are the actual location is here, lanthanum, cerium, this is the black elements. So it is the main periodic table. These are the two S black elements on the left side, and on the right side this total group, that is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the 0 group elements. So these are all P black elements and this is 0 group elements, and in the middle we have D black elements, they are called transition elements, and within this we have this what F black elements starting from lanthanum to lutetium and actinium to lawrencium. So these are the what black elements which run from 14, total number is 14, So here d black elements are actually 10 each in a row. Sixth period, it is actually the rows are called periods. Already we know that in the basics of the fundamentals of a periodic table. Look at these different lanthanides. That alias stands for lanthanum. Then C is cerium, praseodymium Pr, neodymium, promethium Pm, samarium Sm, europium Eu, gadolinium Gd, Gd actually gadolinium, terbium Tb, dysprosium Dy, holmium Ho, terbium Er, thulium Tm, ytterbium, lutetium Lu. So it starts from lanthanum to lutetium. This is how it goes on. And if you look at the electronic configuration of these elements, lanthanum to lutetium, then it runs like this. Xenon 54 is the previous inert configuration, and after that it comes uh, 6s2 5d1 and 4f0. It is lanthanum. Then if you take the other one, that is cerium, it is 4f1, it goes on, and if you continue that, it is 4f2, and if 4f3 is possible because 3d electron will come back to here, and if it is neodymium, it is 4f4, and it will go on like that. But when you look at the configuration at europium has 4f7. It will not be having any d electron there, and gadolinium has 4f7 by losing one electron to 5d. 5d is there, and if you look at lutetium also, here it is 4f14 because this europium as well as gadolinium as well as lutetium both have 4f7, that is half filled, and 4f14, that is completely filled f orbital. So that's why they prefer one electron to go into d orbital. In other cases, that is not very much clear because in most of the cases d electron is not available. If based on the stability, it will move on. This is how we can write the configuration of lanthanides. Already we know that black elements can be classified as lanthanides and actinides based on the group. Uh, Lanthanides are actually the name has come just based on the lanthanum, and they are almost paramagnetic in nature, very high ionization energies and electronegativity values. If you look at the oxidation states, predominantly it is a +3 oxidation state. In more or less, the reason has been mostly that they are ready to lose their three electrons, that is one from d electron and two from s orbital, that is the d orbital s orbital. They lose that, and the remaining electrons are there in the f orbital only, because f orbital is the, already we know that n minus 2 orbit it is, whereas if you look at the d orbital, it is n minus 1 orbit, and s orbitals are still far away. They are almost at the end of the orbit, that is ns. And +2 +4 also sometimes very important oxidation states. Why these also having +2 and +4? The reasons are simple. If you look at the oxidation states of different compounds here, the elements exhibit different type of. Already we told that +3 is very common and routine oxidation state. Uh, if you look at this lanthanum, promethium, holmium, terbium, lutetium +3, they are common. Cerium, some other promethium. This is terbium, Dinosporium. This plus 3 plus 4 are very common. Samarium, europium, yttrium, they have plus 2 plus 3. Neodymium plus 2 plus 3. All that there are some possibilities here. For example, if you take lanthanum, that by losing all the electrons, that is whatever the 3 electrons are there in D1 and 6s2, it is ready to lose 3 electrons, and so that it gets converted into lanthanum plus 3, oxidation number plus 3, so that all the f orbital and 5d and 6s, every orbital has 0 electrons. It's easy for that. And when you look at the properties like atomic size, or ionic size. Generally, we know that as the atomic number increases, each succeeding element contains one more electron, isn't it? So naturally, what happens? The four orbitals and one proton in the nucleus. So that what happens? The four f electrons are, but generally with increasing electrons, when you go to right side in the period, when you go to right side, as the number of electrons are increasing, and the nucleus charge also increases. Therefore, the attraction force increases because it is within the same radius, but number is more. So as the number is more and nuclear charge increasing, that's why they attract the outer shell electrons very close to that. So that is the reason why generally atomic size or ionic size decreases if you go towards right side. In general, that is a common trend we can observe. Uh, but here the 4f electrons are ineffective in screening the outer electrons from the nucleus, causing imperfect shielding. As this result, there is a gradual increase in the nucleus attraction for the outer electron. That's why the size decreases, and this is what we call as what lanthanide contraction. Due to the lanthanide contraction, this particular what the size, ionic size as well as atomic size decreases when we go from left side to right side. The nuclear and ionic radii of the tripositive and tetrapositive actinide particles, there is a what a decline in the ionic sizes of the of course positive ions, that is it may be plus 3 or plus 4, and the size is decreasing. Of course, that may be due to lanthanide contraction, because the poor protecting electrons are not protected by the 5 electrons. When you compare for actinides also, look at this trend of what ionic size. All are in plus 3 oxidation state, starting from lanthanum to lutetium. So there is a drastic decrease gradually, and there is a decrease in the ionic size of plus 3 ions of lanthanides. And all this decrease is attributed to, or mainly due to, lanthanide contraction. What is this lanthanide contraction? Basically, the lanthanide contraction is the gradual decrease in atomic and ionic size of lanthanides with increase in atomic number is called lanthanide contraction. Causes, what are the reasons for this lanthanide contraction? When you come, that is when there is an increase in the atomic number from left to right, the atomic size is decreasing gradually. As the atomic number increases, what happens? The positive charge also increases in the nucleus. Therefore, that attracts the what outside, that is outermost electrons are very much attracted. And sometimes what happens if this 4f electrons, which are there in the middle, isn't it? Because the outermost electrons are in the nth orbit, whereas n minus 2 orbit is having f black elements, that is f black electrons. So when these f black that is f orbital electrons are in between nucleus as well as the outer ring outside electrons, valence electrons. So if they could protect this, what that is called shielding. If they shield the outermost electrons from the effect of nucleus, then that is called shielding effect. But for 4f, here it is the shielding effect is not that effective. Because of low shielding effect, the outermost electrons are under the influence of nucleus. So with increasing atomic number, they strongly attract this outermost electrons. That's why ionic size or atomic size decreases when you go from lanthanum to lutetium. The reasons for lanthanide contraction. The significant reason for lanthanide contraction is because of the unseemly shielding of the 4f electrons because of inappropriate state of the f orbital. As the nuclear number increases, that is the nucleus charge is increasing the lanthanide series. For each proton in the nucleus, the additional electron goes into 4f orbital. This outcomes gradual reduction in the size of the lanthanides with expanding nuclear number. The lessening in size is not consistent all through the lanthanides. There is a change in how it is decreasing. What happens due to this lanthanide contraction? The reason why we are taking this so seriously because 3D, 4D, 5D. There are three D series are three 3D series, 4D series, and 5D series. In 4D series, actually, F block elements starts in lanthanides are in 4D and actinides are in 5D. That series. So in 3D there is no lanthanide or any F black elements. So when due to the presence of F black elements in 4D and 5D series, as the size, the atomic size is decreasing, that is from when you start from left to right, the atomic size is decreasing. So what happens when you take the periodic table? When you look at the periodic table, when we go to right side, there is a decrease in the atomic size. When you go downside in the periodic table, if you go down, there is an increase in the atomic number as well as the orbit is increasing. So due to increase in the orbit number, that is when you come down, then in the group, then as the atomic number is increasing and the orbit number is also increasing. So what happens? The size, atomic size or atomic radius increases further. Whereas if you go to right side, that is in a period, if you go to right side, atomic size decreases. In a group, if you go down, atomic size increases. So due to this effect, that is when you look at the 4D electrons and the 5D elements, then when you look at the 4D, there is a decrease in the ionic size, and if you go down, that is from lanthanides to actinides, there is increase in the atomic size. So the decrease and increase both resemble in such a way that whatever the decrease and whatever the increase here, both almost make it so very close, so that almost 3D and 4D and 5D properties remain same. The transition series of 4D and 5D almost are becoming same when compared to 3D. So 3D has different properties, whereas 4D 5D series are almost similar properties, similar characteristics. The reason for this is due to the lanthanide contraction. That is, on one side it is decreasing and the other side it is increasing, so that the total value becomes almost same. So we can just read out this. By and large, the atom size increments down a group. That is, we know that when you group down, so atom size increases. So the measure of the molecule of an element of second transition series is bigger than any particle of the primary transition series. At the size of the atom of the third transition series is almost same as that of the molecule of the second transition series. That is, so second, third, that is 4D and 5D atomic sizes are almost same. Therefore, properties also same. So there is a comparability in the size of particles or ions. If you take that is 4D and 5D. And all that comparability, all that similarities are mainly due to property lanthanide contraction. If you take the radius of zirconium, radius of hafnium, both are same almost. Radius of niobium and tantalum, and also same. If you look at the anomalous behavior of opposed lanthanides, how do they behave? Um, Number one, atomic size. If you look at the atomic size, this explains the close similarities between that is already we know that 4D and 5D, that is the second and third transition series, when compared to first transition series, that is 3D. So with respect to 3D, 4D, 5D are different, but whereas when you compare to 4D and 5D, they are almost the same. And ionization potential and electronegativity. The effect of lanthanide contraction also seen in the increase in the ionization potential values of and also electronegativity of the elements of the third transition series. Um, and the reason is because of the lanthanide contraction, the post lanthanide elements have stronger positive field and thus the electrons are held more tightly. A greater effective nuclear charge of the former make them more electronegative than the latter. And another is high density. This is because of Lanthanide contraction. The atomic size of the post-Lanthanide elements become very small. The density is increased because the size when it becomes small, then the densities are becoming high and high. The densities of the third transition series elements are almost double to those of the second series. So that is due to the high density. Look at the property that is magnetic behavior. When you look at the magnetic behavior, here already we know that magnetism comes by unpaired electrons. If any element or any molecule has unpaired electron, then the tiny unpaired electron behaves like a bar magnet, because we know that magnetism is due to the is generated when a charged particle is in spinning in circular motion. So due to the spin of any charged particle, magnetism is developed. So that is the reason why we need to have unpaired electron. If electrons are paired, then the magnetism generated by each electron gets cancelled. That's why it remains as diamagnet. But if you have unpaired electron, then whatever the magnetic field is generated, it remains with the molecule or with the compound. So if you look at the trend of the magnetic properties of lanthanum to lutetium, it is lanthanum plus 3 and lutetium plus 3. But you have to check whether what is the formula and how to check whether it is uh, having any magnetic property or not. Look at this. The four of electrons are, of course, they are deep inside. And they are shielded from the pinching effect of the environment. The four of orbitals are well shielded from the surroundings of the overlapping of 5s and 5p orbitals. As a result, the direct field of the ligands surrounding the ions does not restrict the orbital motion of the electron. So we have both. In general, for D elements, we generally take only spin only quantum number. Based on that, the root of n into n plus 2 Bohr times we use to calculate. But since it has both primary as well as yeah, look at this. It has both the effects of orbital motion as well as spin. So it is spin electron spin on its own and also orbital spin on its own. So that L indicates what orbital magnetism, that is the magnetism developed by orbital motion, whereas S indicates the magnetism developed by spin only what movement. So they are put together because both are very active in this particular black elements. For D black elements, we generally take only yes, it is plus 2 under root. But whereas this is the case where we have both. So the magnetic moment value becomes equal to under root of 4s into s plus 1 plus l into l plus 1. So s stands for spin, spin only, and so the magnetic moments of different ions. If you look at the different ions, then we have certain easy identifications whether they have magnetic moment or not based on the unpaired electrons. If unpaired electrons are more, then they will be having different magnetic field, and magnetism or magnetic property also increases. If unpaired electrons are zero, then generally they don't have any what a specific magnetic moment or magnetic property, because it is becoming zero. So as no unpaired electron is present, it will not be having any magnetic nature. It will not show magnetic behavior. For general purpose, we generally take as under root of unit n plus and unit n plus 2 here, because we take 4s into s plus 1, which is a common thing. But here in this particular case, we consider both, that is orbital motion as well as spin only motion. So both are taken into consideration to measure the magnetic properties of lanthanides. For example, if you look at what lanthanum plus 3, if you take lanthanum plus 3, then the value, since it is not having any unpaired electron there, the magnetic moment becomes 0. uh, but lutetium plus 3 also 0, diamagnetic in nature, because it has all the electrons paired up. So it changes because the magnetic moment increases from 0 to, as the unpaired electrons number increases, then up to at samarium plus 3 it will be increasing, and after then it becomes maximum. When the value becomes maximum, that is unpaired electrons becomes maximum. After that it decreases and becomes 0, that is diamagnetic nature. Look at the properties like color and light absorption of a light. Now, these are again one more important property of transition and other elements. Here, when we take black elements and lanthanides in special, in particularly, then color is due to electron. When electron, by absorbing visible radiation, visible light, it jumps from one orbital to other orbital. Then, for that purpose, it absorbs the light, and when the light is absorbed in visible range, then whatever the remaining waves of the visible range come out, and they appear like colors. So the reason for color appearance is only point is that when visible radiation falls on any compound or any material, if a part of the visible radiation is absorbed, then the remaining part comes out as color compound. So that gives color. So if total visible range is observed, it will not be appearing as color, and if total visible range is emerged out, that is reflected back, then also it will not be appearing as color. It looks like white. If total is observed, it looks like black. But if a part of visible is absorbed and remaining part is reflected back, then that appears as color. So here, why visible light is absorbed by black elements? The reason is because of F to F transitions. That is, F electrons jump from one F orbital to other F orbital. So that is well explained in D black elements, where DD transitions are the main reasons for the colors of the complexes. So the DD transitions have been explained very well by what crystal field theory. But when we compare here F black also, due to the FF transitions, there is substance appear to be colors in nature. So the color of any substance is that which it reflects back. This means if any color is appearing in green color, for example, that is green light is evolving from the substance. That's why it looks like green. So the wavelength of the light determines if the light with reflected or absorbed. So based on the wavelength of the light which is absorbed by the molecule, the remaining part of the wavelength is reflected back. So this is the F electrons split into two parts, and when electron jumps from one lower energy level to the higher energy level, then for that it needs some light energy, and that light energy is absorbing from visible range. That's why they look like having some colors. But again, the condition here is that in which black elements exhibit colors. Whether all the black elements exhibit colors or not means no. All generally do not exhibit this color. Just like magnetic moment, here also we need unpaired electrons, because if all orbits are filled, then F transitions, that is F orbital to F orbital, electron transition is not possible. So if that transition is not possible, then color absorption is not possible. Therefore, it doesn't look like color. So for color formation, it is necessary that it should have unpaired electrons. Otherwise, color formation is not possible. Look at the examples here. You can see number of Fourier electrons. So the magnetic property as well as the color property both can be explained by looking at the number of unpaired electrons. Look at it very carefully. Lanthanum plus 3, it is what 0, number of unpaired electrons is 0, so colorless. And magnetic property also 0. Cerium plus 3, one electron is there, so it is having color, but that color will jump from one to other. But most of the cases it looks like colorless, because that one electron goes into instead of FF transactions, it will go to some 3D orbital and so on. So sometimes that may not give you color, whereas magnetic property is applicable. So like niobium, neodymium, promethium, samarium, gadolinium. If you take gadolinium again, the seven electrons all are one single electrons, and it looks colorless because it won't be having any FF transitions are not possible. And if you take lutetium, so in that also all 14 electrons are present in the uh, F block orbital, that is F orbital, therefore it is colorless again. And remaining all have due to unpaired electrons, which is not complete, therefore they exhibit colors. So you can note down these uh, examples where we can write whether the possibility of color formation, FF transitions. Um, yeah. Complex formation is also, you can see that lanthanides are moderate in their complex forming ability, which increases when you go from left to right, that is from lanthanum to lutetium. The complex formation is very less when compared to 3D and 4D. Although this what plus 3 ions have high charge, their size is also uh, high. The charge to radius ratio becomes so small that these ions have less tendency to form very less stable complexes are formed by lanthanides. And the most likely what useful ligands are EDTA, oxalic acid, stellene, stone. Like that, the general decrease in the complex formation you can observe. Uh, the lanthanum plus 2 plus 3 is having highest degree of formation, and if you plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 also, we can see that there is a decrease in the charge, then the ability to form complex also decreases. This is how we can understand the formation of complex. Now, the most important part of this lesson is separation of lanthanides. We have two different methods for the separation of lanthanides. One is the ion exchange method, another is solvent extraction method. Let's take what is this ion exchange method. It is a very simple and effective method for the separation and also for the purification of lanthanides. It is used for both the purpose. That is actually what is ion exchange means what. Here we take acids that is having in resins, and where when lanthanide ions, that is the lanthanum plus 3 for example, that goes to that resin, then it exchanges the proton of the acid, and in place of proton it goes and takes that position. This particular ions, lanthanide ions, that is plus 3 ions, go and or get substituted in place of hydrogen, that is proton. And this is how the lanthanide ions bind to the resin. So there is a binding between resin and ions, lanthanides, and this binding depends on the size. Okay, this is how this happens. For example, small ion becomes large when it is hydrated. The ion which is very small size, it becomes large in size after hydration. Hydration means when hydrated, that is solvent, that is water here. In case solvent is water, so water atoms are attached to the ion. That's why the total size becomes large. So small size ion becomes large after hydration, and because of the large size after hydration, its binding with the resin is less, because always small hydrated ions are firmly bound or strongly bound to resin. Therefore, with the increase in the ionic size or with the decrease in the ionic size, whatever it is, if you take the decrease in the ionic size in general, then there is the increase in the hydrated ionic size. And as the hydrated ionic size is increasing, its binding ability with the resin is decreasing. So when you go from left to right, ionic size is decreasing. That is, hydrated ionic size is increasing. That is, its binding capacity is decreasing. So its binding capacity is less. From lanthanum to lutetium, it is decreasing. So ions are less firmly bound from lanthanum plus 3 to lutetium plus 3. So this is the reason. So that is the smaller ion bounds very not so strongly, whereas large size ion is bonding very strongly. The reason is after hydration, the order becomes reverse. That's why large size, that is lanthanum plus 3, is bound very strongly. Lutetium plus 3 is bound loosely to resin. And a synthetic ion exchange resin, that is the powder, whatever it is, with specific functional groups like already we told that it need to exchange with proton. That's why we need acids like COOH or NaSO3H, acidic nature resins, or it is packed in a long column. A column is taken in a vertical position. Then the already we told that the steady decrease in the size and consequent decrease in basicity causes the steady increase in the complexity ability of the increasing atomic number of lanthanides. When an aqueous solution containing the mixture of trivalent lanthanide ions is passed through a column having a synthetic cation exchange resin solid, then how this happens is see, that is M plus 3 is the lanthanum, for example, lanthanides is ion. It interacts with H, that is resin, where H is, that is proton is present, then proton is removed, and to the place of proton, this what uh, it lanthanide ion, lanthanic ion, it goes and joins there, attaches there. So in this column we have what this total acid resin. It is filled with the acid resin. Then a mixture of all the lanthanides is dropped in the resin column. They are eluted by using citric acid or ammonium citrate. So with that is a combination of citric acid and ammonium citrate is passed through the column, and elution. Elution means coming out from the column. A column chromatograph is there. Then from that, one by one comes out. And once if you add ammonium, citric acid and ammonium citrate, this ammonium again reacts with lanthanum and resin already form is there. That is the lanthanide is attached to resin. After passing through this citric acid and ammonium citrate, then that lanthanides they pass into what some citrates. That is, they form complex with citrate. That is, they are detached from resin and it forms a citrate. And if the strongly bound ion in lanthanide will detach slowly, and thus the loosely bound ion detaches first. So whichever is loosely bound, it will come first and it will combine with ammonium citrate ion, and it gives uh, lanthanide citrate complex. Now you see this lutetium loosely bound. That's why it's first to elute. Whichever is loosely bound, it will come as a first. And if lanthanum, if you take lanthanum citrate is found because it is strongly bound with the resin, so it will not come first. It will come the last. So lutetium comes first, lanthanum comes last. And you see this is how the column is prepared. So this is a column chromatography, so where which is used. The resin is filled in this particular column, and after this, all the mixture of lanthanides is passed through this column, and citric acid ammonium citrate is passed out through this, and the specific loosely bound lanthanides come out as a complex, citrate complex. And one more method is the solvent extraction method. What is this solvent extraction method? Solvent extraction method is nothing but this liquid extraction is a method to separate compounds based on their relative solubilities into different immiscible liquids. That means we take first two immiscible liquids like organic compound 1 and aqueous 6, that is water plus benzene or water plus some organic solvent, which are immiscible. Then we take the mixture of these lanthanides. Then the abilities, that is certain lanthanide ions are more soluble in organic and certain other are more soluble in water. So those which are soluble in water are separated by simple methods, and those which are soluble in organic can be separated both. So this is what we call as extraction. And we take lanthanide nitrate because they have different solubilities in water and also trialkyl phosphate. So mostly trialkyl phosphate is taken as organic and water is taken as aqueous. And lanthanides have different solubilities in these two. And the extent of extraction, that is the complex formation, increases with decrease in the size. So when you take lanthanide size, and if the size is very small, then it can easily be extracted. That is, a complex is formed so that it runs fast. Nitrates of lanthanides, they are allowed to flow to counter, that is the flow counter to this already we have to in TBP when some lanthanides enter into organic solvent. And gadolinium is separated by continuous counter current method. They pass it through this TBP, and organic things go into organic layer, and which are solvent water remain in the water layer. And this is how continuous counter current. So this is the structure of TBP. It is tri-butyl phosphate. So one is the organic compound where organic soluble uh, lanthanides come into this TBP and will remain in water. So the difference in the partition coefficients of lanthanides between water and organic solvent is the main key principle behind separating lanthanides by using extraction method. See, this is how different samarium gadolinium are separated with the latest research paper. This is in the articles it was published that samarium gadolinium can be separated by using this combination of three reagents on like this. So this is how we have covered F-block elements. What are the basic electronic configuration of F-block elements, and um, what are the properties of F-block elements, that is oxidation state, magnetic properties, color properties, and complex formation things. And after that we had a discussion on how FF transition takes place and how colors appear, and what are the methods to measure colorless or color. And after that we have discussed about the ion separation of lanthanides by using two different methods, that is ion exchange method and solvent extraction method. That's it from this F block elements, specifically lanthanides. Thank you.